Hey guys, welcome to Plan Today, Own Tomorrow. My name is Gary Thurman, your host and CEO at Guardian Investment Advisors. I'm in here today with my buddy Bobby Futch. What's going on, man?
Come on, Gary. I'm doing well.
Doing well. That's good.
Happy
Tim's
New
going to
Year.
be joining us here in a few minutes.
Yeah, he's got some kids he's running around
He's
with
running
this
the kids
morning.
around this morning, right? So Tim McDermott also will be joining us here in a little bit. And Bobby, you and I were just here chatting about the show. Happy New Year, by the way. This show is going to come out right before New Year's, so we're going to talk a lot of things about New Year's. But you were mentioning last night that your little bit had a Christmas program last night.
Yeah, she goes to CSAS here in Chattanooga.
Yeah.
And they had their elementary school chorus program. It was really cool, Gary, because the theme of it, and Mr. Johnson there, the music instructor for the lower school, does an awesome job.
Yeah.
He could be at a college or something teaching
Yeah.
music and presentation and all that sort of thing. It was Christmas around the world. So each
Oh, that's cool.
Each grade had a different country they were learning about in preparation for this, and they sang a different country, a Christmas song from a different country.
Per country. That's really neat.
Most of them, but not all were in English.
Yeah.
So we had one in Swedish.
Wow.
Which was pretty cool. Don't ask me to pronounce the name of that song. And then the 4th and 5th grade chorus students did Silent Night.
Oh, I bet that was
in the
great.
original German.
Yeah,
which was
that's
cool.
really cool. That's really cool. Well, man, I hate that I missed it, but love your daughter and your family, and glad they had a good time. I know Christmas programs are going on like crazy right now, all over the place, Christmas parties. But again, this show is going to be coming out right at New Year's Eve, Bobby, and I just want to take a few minutes right off the bat, say Happy New Year's. Happy New Year to new 2026, the new year that is coming up on us. And you know, we got a lot of things going on in our world right now, a lot of things coming out of 25, going into 26, and we're going to talk about some of those things today, including, you know, some new goals, maybe some new energy and some new opportunities that you may have, you know, all when it comes to your finances, your health, your family, your future. We're going to talk about all kinds of different things today. One thing I'm going to go ahead and throw out there really quick. We are giving away my book, Plan Today, Own Tomorrow, absolutely free. If you're interested in this book, it's 423-710-9199. You can call that number, 423-710-9199. Let the ladies know you'd like a copy of my book. Just give them your name and address. We'll send it right out. Also, you can text the word book to the same number, 423-710-9199. Again, we're going to have to call you and get your information. Now, one thing that we have created also to go with my book is a short video series. It's just myself telling you what the chapter is all about. So if we get your email, we'll send that out to you as well. That way, every week, you're getting a different short video telling you about the chapter that you're about to read. So again, 423-710-9199. Bobby, let's have some fun here. Let's start off with a truth or myth when it comes to retirement planning in 2026. The question to you is, the best time to start a retirement plan is once you're within 5 years of retiring.
Yeah, Gary, that's a myth.
That's a big myth, isn't it?
That's the time you should be refining the plan and getting ready to put it into action. The earlier you start, the better.
Well,
Right?
yeah.
I don't think it's unreasonable to start thinking about retirement. Maybe it's a little early in your 30s, but certainly by your 40s, you should have a very clear plan
Sure.
about what you're doing to save for retirement, what vehicles you're using, how you're saving to those vehicles, how much you're putting away, how those are invested. There's a lot going into a retirement plan, and the earlier you start, the better, because there's going to be audibles that have to be called in that plan.
100%.
A plan is not a set-it-and-forget-it situation.
Life happens, right?
Life happens. Situations change. Goals change.
Yeah.
That's okay, right? You should be able to do those things in a good plan. The earlier you start, the more
better.
flexibility you have and all that.
And I mean, you mentioned sometimes, you know, people in their 30s, but a lot of you guys that are out there, if you're listening today in your 30s, you probably have a thing called a 401k. Make sure you're taking advantage of that, and make sure you're getting the free match. We see so many young people,
Yeah.
you know, they got a 401k, they're putting 2% in, but they got a 4% match. So they're leaving money, free money on the table, Bobby.
Yeah, that's the best kind of money is 401k match. And they've gotten a lot more complicated in the last handful
Yeah,
of years.
true.
You know, it's just not about socking money away blindly in a 401k. Again, do you have a match? What is that match? Are you maximizing that? Do you have a Roth option?
Right.
Right? We talk all the time here about taxes. You know, taxes have rarely been lower in the history of this country. So is a pre-tax or a traditional 401k where you should be saving when you're a younger person? Maybe not.
Right.
Right? It all depends on your situation, obviously. But you need to know what your options are, what your tools are in these
Absolutely.
plans. And again, make sure you're refining that plan and making it work best for you and your goals.
It made me think this past Sunday, Bobby, we had a Christmas party here at the office for our Chattanooga Living Group. We had a great time. And one of the ladies in our group is a physical therapist. She's in her mid to late 30s, just had her first child not too long ago.
Awesome.
But she come up to me and said, hey, Gary, is it okay if I call you? Can we come in and have a conversation with you? I said, well, absolutely.
That's why we're here.
Tell me what's going on with you. And she goes, well, I just didn't know if we had enough money to come in and sit down with you, which I think is a big factor in a bunch of firms out there. But once we talked for a few minutes, Bobby, I found out she has an old 401k. I said, so what are you doing with it? She goes, I have no clue. I said, that's why you need to come in and see us.
Yeah, that's right.
Take control of that money now.
And that's what I love about Guardian is we don't have a minimum to talk to somebody.
No.
Right? We're open to have a conversation with anybody. You know, Gary, I came from the world that you had to have $1 million before
You had to have
knocked
$1
on the
million
door.
to have a conversation.
By the time you've gotten that kind of wealth together, you know, a lot of time has passed. A lot of decisions have been made that you
Right.
probably could have worked with a professional advisor with
That's right.
to make sure you maximize that. So, you know, if you're just getting started saving, you know, you're worried you don't have enough money, whatever that means.
We'll give you all the
right?
advice you want.
Call us. We'll have
Yeah.
a conversation with you.
I mean, Zoom call, phone call, whatever. Let's
Yeah.
let's at least talk.
That's right.
I think we've helped so many young people out there. Maybe they're not ready to work with a firm yet, but we're going to give them the steps to take to get to that point. So we're open. 423-710-9199. Give us a call. So, Bobby, let's talk about 2026. People are going to be walking in, you know, over the next few weeks, sitting down with you and Tim and Brogan. And what do you think the biggest things they're going to be looking for as far as money, more peace of mind? What are folks going to be looking for moving into the new year?
Yeah, I think it's really important what you said, peace of mind, right?
Yeah,
They want clarity, you know, they want confidence in the direction they're moving, and they want a plan.
They need a plan.
They need a plan, and it is about the numbers. The numbers are really
is.
important, right? But you want to make sure that you understand the numbers. You want to understand your numbers, right?
I was making a note to say that, yeah.
And to make sure that you understand why you're doing what you're doing and how it's going to help you in the future.
And,
Right?
and
That's really what we do. It's really cool.
how many folks, we don't have a number or we don't have an average, but
Mm-hmm.
I know for a fact after sitting down with you and Tim and Bobby after meeting, you, Tim and Brogan, after meeting with clients, so many people feel they're moving in the right direction.
Yeah.
And they're totally not. It happens a lot.
It does happen a lot, and we get all the time, you know, I've had an advisor for 10, 15, 20 years, and I've got a portfolio, and that's great, right? And a lot of advisors out there are just what I call asset managers.
Mm.
There's nothing wrong with that line
No,
of work, right?
no.
We're asset managers,
You
too.
need growth.
You need growth, but it's not a plan.
It's not a plan.
And just getting the most growth you can in your portfolio doesn't help you retire with confidence.
Right. Do you think it's something, a mindset with people where they want things to be maybe a little more simple and a little less chaotic?
Yeah, a lot of people, especially those that are, you know, mid to high income earners that have managed to put a lot of money away, that's what they're focused on, right? They think the only thing I can do to help myself prepare and be ready for retirement is work as hard as I can and sock as much money away as I can.
Okay.
Again, that's just a tiny part of it.
It's a little
Right?
part.
You got to make sure you know what that money's doing and that you're saving it the right way. It's kind of back to our 401k conversation. You know, you need to have tax diversification in your plan too. So we met with a couple yesterday. They did really well for themselves. They got almost $2 million in a 401k.
Good for them.
They're going to retire in 3 years, and that's all they have.
Mm.
So are they going to be worried about income? Not necessarily, but because they put all the money in one tax bucket, now we've got to try to keep Uncle Sam out of their pocket.
Yeah, so now you need to do some serious tax planning.
Tax planning.
You're not filing their taxes.
That's right.
We don't do that. We're not CPAs, but you need to do some serious tax
Well, we
planning
can help
with these
them
folks.
put a plan together. Again, they live modestly.
Right?
The chances of them running out of money are really low, but a big chunk of that's going to Uncle Sam, and we can probably help them mitigate some of that.
How important do you think it is for folks to focus on letting go of the stress, the financial stress of 2025?
It's huge, right? Everybody's got all kinds of stuff going on, work, family, you know, friends. You know, one of the things that you don't have to worry about is your finances.
Right.
And the only way to do that is a plan.
It is. You got to have a plan.
I've seen couples come in that are worth $50,000, getting ready to retire. They have a plan. They're happy as can be, right? Because they have a plan.
Right.
And they know what that's going to do. I've also seen people walk in with $3, $4, $5 million. They're about to pull their hair out.
Yeah,
right?
because they have no clue.
They have no clue what's going on. The number isn't the important part. It's a part of a bigger plan. And once you have the plan, you're able to let a lot of that stress go.
Yeah, I love that. So when we come back in our second segment, we're going to talk about some financial must-dos for 2026. And Bobby, I want to throw something out at you, and you got time to think. And I'm going to throw the same thing at Tim when he gets here. I want, by the end of the show, for us to pick one word for 2026. One word for 2026. That could be anything. It could be personal, health, financial. Just be thinking about that one word that we're going to throw out there by the end of the show. Again, folks, we are looking to give you a copy of my book absolutely free. Plan Today, Own Tomorrow. It's a great book, 6 chapters, easy read, gives you so much great information. Now, along with this book, you're going to get a video series where every week we'll send you a short video, 2 minutes, telling you about the chapter that you're about to read. That's myself, and actually I got my wife to do one of the chapters that's all about women for us in that book as well. But if you'd like a copy of my book, give us a call, 423-710-9199. Sorry, 423-710-9199. Let the ladies know you'd like a copy of the book. They need your name, address, and email. You can also text the word book to 423-710-9199. We'll send the book out. We're going to have to respond to your text and get your information to get the book out to you. But we'd love to send you the book. Again, 423-710-9199. Give us a call or text the word book. We'll send the book right out and start sending you the video series that goes along with it. So when we come back, we're going to talk about some financial must-dos for 2026. Stay tuned. Here's the truth. 70% of us will need some type of long-term care. Most people aren't prepared. And traditional long-term care insurance, it's expensive, and if you don't use it, you lose it. We have modern solutions, plans to protect your retirement, preserve your legacy, and give you flexibility. Text LTC to the number you see on your screen and get your guide today. Let's plan for tomorrow starting now. Welcome back to Plan Today on Tomorrow. My name is Gary Thurman, CEO of Guardian Investment Advisors, and each and every week I'm pleasure to be your host on our radio show. Now, you might be listening to us on the radio. You might be watching us on YouTube. We put this out in all kinds of different places, so I want to just say thank you for doing that. We had some folks in here this past week, Bobby, that said they've been watching our TV show, listening to our radio show for years, and they finally decided to come in and have a conversation with us. I just think that's really cool to me, really, really cool to me. But thank you for listening. We appreciate it. Hey, listen, if you have questions, specific questions you'd like to ask, I forget to throw this out there a lot. On our website, if you scroll to the very bottom of our website, there's a place for you to put any question you want. One of us is going to come and answer that question for you. So GIAPlantoday.com, GIAPlantoday.com if you want to ask those questions, or call our number. Tell the ladies, hey, I've got a question. I want the guys to talk about it on the radio, 423-710-9199. So, Bobby, let's jump into the financial must-dos of 2026. We're going to talk about cash flow awareness. We're going to talk about managing debt, emergency reserves, why guessing is not a strategy. And Bobby, let's just start. What's one financial move people should absolutely make for 2026?
You need to review your cash flow. And you need to do that, I would say, a couple times a year. The beginning of the year is a good one, right? Because a lot of times if you're moving into a new year and you're retired, you get cost of living adjustments for Social Security. You may get pension roll-ups, those sorts of things. You may have got a bonus at the end of last year for your W-2 job.
Okay.
Maybe you gotten a raise. So you need to make sure you understand where your cash is coming from and where it's going.
I like that.
And that's something you need to keep an eye on pretty regularly.
I mean, income planning, in my personal opinion, is the most important planning you can do.
Without a doubt. And what this allows you to do is be intentional with how you're using your money.
I like that.
Right? Everybody says the word budget, and man, I don't want to live on a budget.
Yeah.
But we see it all the time. Folks that are making good money.
Yeah.
Maybe two spouses that have careers, and the bills get paid and they don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah.
those are the ones that generally don't have a budget.
Right.
They come in. All right. How much are you spending? What are you looking to do in retirement? More spending for a little bit, less spending. How's that going to work? They don't have a clue.
Yeah.
Right. So that makes it really hard to plan. So I would suggest you sit down, if you haven't put a spending plan together already, make one.
Yeah.
Right. That's your new baseline. Keep up with that. Or if you have, great. We love that. But it needs to be adjusted. Right?
So, okay, I'm glad you brought the word adjustment up. Someone comes in, and I'm just going to say they're 65 years old, married couple, they're retiring. They're in their prime. Mm-hmm. They're in their what we call our go-go years. So maybe from 65 to 72, 73, 74, they want to go, 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 spend more money, travel, spoil the grandkids, fund college, whatever the case may be. Can you and Tim and Brogan set up an income plan that gives folks more money in the go-go years and then maybe back that money income down the road?
Yeah, without a doubt. We do that a lot. That's some of my favorite planning
I think
to
it's
do.
fun, yeah.
Here's the question I have, though, Gary. You said, I want to spend more. Okay, more than what?
Ah,
And if you don't know that number, we got to figure that out before we
Right.
can help you plan for
That's
that.
right.
It can absolutely be done, but you need to figure it out. And if you back up a handful of years from the go-go years,
right,
you're probably earning the most you've ever earned.
right.
Your savings should be a line item in that spending plan. It should be intentional.
Right.
Don't get yourself in the situation where we're going to save whatever's left.
Yeah, that's not good.
It's not good. It's better than nothing. Don't
It
get
is
me
better
wrong.
than nothing. That's true.
But
Yeah.
the ones that are most successful in preparing for retirement and have less stress, it is a line item on that spending plan. They know exactly how much is going into savings, whether that's at the bank, whether that's at a 401k, an IRA, an HSA. I don't care where you're saving necessarily, but just make sure you're doing it as an intentional thing.
I love that. Bobby, I had a conversation with a guy via Zoom the other day. We were talking about income planning, and here's his whole goal. He's got a nice portfolio, Bobby. He really does, and his goal is just to pull money, out of the market, which a lot of people do. The old 4% rule, right? And I said, you know what I think? I think you need to understand the difference between your portfolio income and your guaranteed income.
Yeah.
He was like, whoa. I mean, it kind of put him.
Yeah.
So people also need to be looking at their risk capacity, right? How much risk do you have in the market, and where are we going to pull that income from?
Yeah, that's exactly right. And we talk all the time about two risk numbers, right? We talk about risk capacity and risk tolerance, and they're very different, right? Your risk capacity is, how does that make you feel?
Right.
Right? If the market were to correct by 10%, 15%, 20%, or God forbid we have another 2008,
Yeah.
are you going to be able to sleep at night?
Are you?
That's a question we ask everybody.
Are you going back to work?
And you're going back to work? Because most people will say, well, no, right? We've got a really cool tool here we run for almost everybody that comes in.
Yeah.
Where we can take your current portfolio and back test it.
Right.
We can go through the last, I don't know, I think it's 10
I think it's 10 years, right?
of market performance. And we can go back and say, if 2008 happens again, this isn't a guess.
Right.
This is what these securities in your portfolio would do. And that number is often staggering.
Yeah, 38, 39, 40% down.
I saw one the other day was over 50.
Whew.
Right? They're invested very aggressively. Their counter argument was, I need close to 20% this year. You did. The market was really good.
Yeah. Yeah.
And especially if you're as heavily weighted in tech stocks as
Yeah.
this gentleman was.
Yeah.
The numbers can kind of blind you to the risks. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, great, I'm glad you did 20%, but what happens if half of it was gone in a matter of 2 weeks?
You got to make people think about that.
That's
I mean,
right.
We don't want to think negativity. All right. We don't want negative markets. You and I mean, we love when the markets are
Yeah.
good. It makes our job so much easier. But you got to be prepared for that. And something else that I really want to hit on for a few minutes here, Bobby. You mentioned a few minutes ago in our first segment, we're in the third lowest tax bracket we've ever been in. Yet, I see so many people not taking advantage of that. They're sitting on a ton of qualified money, IRAs, 401ks, 403bs, 457 plans. They're sitting in a ton of money that they're going to have to pay taxes on, and they're not taking advantage of Roth conversions. Why is that happening?
I just think people don't know the opportunity that's in front of them right now. I want to get those shirts that I Heart New York City.
Okay.
The I and the heart. I'm going to get one for us here that says I Heart Roth.
Let's
We'll
do
just
it.
Wear it around.
I heart Roth IRAs.
And it's a great tool. And listen, I don't think a lot of people think about it because they have to pay their taxes every year, and that still hurts to write that check.
It does.
But to your point, all the money you have in pre-tax accounts, 401ks, IRAs, somebody's going to pay the tax somewhere. Even if you die with that asset,
Somebody still got to pay the tax.
your beneficiaries are going to pay the tax, probably at a much higher rate than you are.
Yeah, exactly.
And so we get all the time, listen, if I leave my kids $1 million, yeah, they can pay the tax. I think maybe you're being a little short-sighted there.
I do too, because you're going to give a lot of that to Uncle Sam.
That's right. And so we talk all the time, almost every day, about Roth conversions. And even if that check for that tax liability is large, which if you have $1 million plus pre-tax portfolio, it's going to be a big check you have to write,
Oh, 100%.
but you're going to have to write it anyway.
You
Write
tell-
it when you can control it.
You and Tim talked about the last several months, the last year on this show. We're actually asking our clients to spend more money.
Yeah, absolutely. And sometimes it's big numbers. We ran.
Yeah.
Tim just walked in. We ran an analysis yesterday for a client. They've done really well. Their income's taken care of. They got a lot of pre-tax money. You know, again, they've done well, a couple $1 million. It makes sense for them to pay over $100,000 a year in income taxes for a couple years.
Which is insane, by the way.
Which is insane. Good morning, Tim.
Wait, we just said it makes sense,
But it,
for somebody to spend $100,000 a year and pay taxes on it. That's what you just said.
but because what can happen is in 4 or 5 years after paying those big tax bills, you may not pay Uncle Sam again.
Ooh.
Have you met anyone in the last 5 years who thinks that taxes are going lower from here?
Not very many, buddy.
Yeah, it's been
And we convinced those folks otherwise.
Yeah.
it's pretty tough to make an argument to think taxes are going lower from here, knowing how much we spend on just the four main things in our government, like Medicare, Medicaid,
Yeah.
Social Security, and the interest on our national debt.
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
the
that
four
takes up-
biggest.
That takes up 96 cents of every dollar that we have.
Think
coming
about
in
that.
revenue. That's crazy.
That's crazy. Hey, everybody, welcome Tim McDermott to the show. Tim had to drop off his kids this morning, but he's here with us today. We're sitting here talking about taxes. One of the cool tools that we have for you that you can do from the comfort of your home is plantodaytaxbill.com. Plantodaytaxbill.com. Go in there, put your numbers in, and then look at what if the taxes go up 5%? What if they go up 10%? Play around with those numbers. Plantodaytaxbill.com. One of the things I want to throw out there, guys, really quick, just to let you guys know, the new book's coming out first quarter.
That's awesome.
Yep. Pretty excited
Congratulations.
about it. Retire Strong is going to be coming to you guys in the first quarter. I'm hoping by the end of January, but we got the publisher working on it right now. We've done a lot of work on the book. It's good. It's just it has a lot of reference to my first book, Plan Today on Tomorrow, which we're offering you for free today. But this book's going to be a little more detailed because it's going to talk about protecting your wealth and your health. What can you do to stay healthy in retirement so you can have a great retirement, have fun in retirement, explore those go-go years that we talked about a little more, and have a lot more fun. So Retire Strong will be coming out. Again, we're offering you a free copy of my book right now, Plan Today, Own Tomorrow. All you have to do is call 423-710-9199. Let the ladies know you'd like a copy of my book. They need to get your name, address, and email. They'll send it right out to you. You can also text the word book, 423-710-9199. We're going to have to follow up with you, get your information so we can send the book out. Now, something we just added to this feature is a video series, which I think is really cool. When you get the book, we're going to get your email, and we're going to drip on you every single week about each chapter of the book. It's just a short video explaining what you're going to read in that chapter. So if you'd like to take advantage of the book, absolutely free, 423-710-9199. And again, we just talked about taxes big time. Go to the comfort of your couch and go to plantodaytaxbill.com, plantodaytaxbill.com. Tim, I'm glad you've got in here and joined us. On our third segment, we're going to be talking about health is the missing piece of retirement planning. So many people are overlooking the cost of health in their retirement planning. We're going to be talking about that next. Again, if you'd like a copy of my book, 423-710-9199. Call or text the word book, 423-710-9199. Hey, folks, we'll be right back, and we're going to be talking about health care and what you might not be thinking about in retirement planning as far as the cost of health care. We'll be right back.
The scariest 4 words in retirement: out of money forever.
That's the number one fear we hear, running out of money before running out of life. You've worked decades to build savings, but without a plan, that nest egg could dry up faster than you think.
And let's be honest, the market alone won't guarantee your income.
Exactly. That's why we create income streams that last as long as you do. It's about turning savings into a paycheck for life.
To get your income planning guide, text the word income to 877-706-7526.
Welcome back to Plan Today on Tomorrow. My name is Gary Thurman, CEO of Guardian Investment Advisors and your host of the show. In here today with Bobby Futch and now Mr. Tim McDermott. Tim, welcome to the show.
Cheers.
How were the kids this morning?
Cold.
Chaos. We were talking about taking the chaos out of your retirement planning earlier. With kids, it's kind of hard to take that chaos
Well,
out,
you're probably
right?
not retired with young kids. So.
No, hope not. Hope not. Hey, so Tim, let's start with a fun truth or myth question. Truth or myth, all debt is bad debt.
I'd say myth.
Mm-hmm.
I think positive arbitrage can be a good thing, and there's a lot of people who have built fortunes using
Yeah.
other people's money, right? But the right kind of debt makes sense. Credit card debt's never really good debt, right?
Yeah, yeah. But there is good debt out there.
Sure.
You know, there
Yeah.
is some good debt
For,
out there.
for most
Bobby.
people, a mortgage is good debt.
Especially in the last
Yeah.
decade, it's been really cheap to get a mortgage, and a lot of folks have built empires built on.
They
real
sure
estate.
have. They sure have.
And we always talk about your debt load as you get ready to move into retirement. It's not a game ender, in my opinion, to carry a mortgage into retirement.
Nah,
But
especially if you got a low interest rate.
yeah, but I mean, if you can get it all cleared
Equity.
up before you retire, great.
Sure.
Yeah, getting rid of any debt's great, right? But those high interest credit cards and stuff like Tim said is the best. So, gentlemen, one of the reasons I came out with the book Retire Strong is I think that people are just misunderstanding probably one of, if not the largest cost in retirement planning, and that's your health. When you look at, gentlemen, I just heard a study yesterday, and this. Hey, I don't know if this is true or not. They're looking at Medicare premiums going up by 8%. Possibly next year. Think about that. So Fidelity did a study that a 65-year-old male or female is expected to spend $172,000 in retirement just for health care. And I'm not talking about long-term care, Tim.
Is that for the couple or for the individual?
172 per person.
That's a lot.
So it's almost $400,000 for a couple. And that's in general health care. So I really want to hit on that because I think a lot of people spend time planning for retirement, planning for that income, Bobby, that we talked about. They forget about health care, Tim.
Healthcare, you worked and you had it through your employer, and so it's easy to think about it not really being an expense. But this is a conversation that we have with a lot of folks. We had a couple in here this week, and he wanted to retire at 64, and she was 9 years younger than him.
Yeah.
And I said, great. I said, what are we doing about health care? Because a lot of times you got retired military or they have health care from their previous employer.
Right.
Something's going on, right? And he said, I don't know yet. I said, okay, that's something we need to think about.
That's not a
something we
plan.
need to plan
That's not a
for, right?
plan.
Yeah.
Yep.
But part of the reason he came in to see us is because he saw that we had Tanner Moore on our team, and that we could help incorporate that into the plan that we were trying to do for him. So
Yeah, that's one of the biggest assets we have here from a financial planning standpoint. I'm sure there are other firms in the area that have someone 2 doors down the hall that help them plan for health care. But it has to be part of your plan. It's often overlooked.
The rules are
Especially when
crazy.
you get somebody like that. He wants to retire. All right, maybe he's got a year till he gets on Medicare, but boom, that's easy.
Yeah,
Right. We can
agreed.
figure that out.
Agreed. She being 9 years,
9 years away.
Away from Medicare. Again, it can be solved, right? We just got to make sure we do that intentionally.
Just got to make it part of that plan.
That's right.
Right. So I'm going to bring up something to you, Bobby. Longevity risk. I think it's the greatest risk we have. We talk about income being the greatest fear in America, running out of money because we're living longer. But if we live longer, we're going to have more opportunities to get sick.
yeah.
Why
Listen,
are people not planning for that?
I'm glad it's a problem. Right?
Well,
I'm
yeah.
glad people are living longer. Regularly we've got a bunch of clients that have lived well into their 90s. Right, a couple that are over 100 years old. 10, 20 years ago, that just didn't happen.
Yeah.
Right, just didn't happen. But now it's something we absolutely have to plan for, which means you can have 30 plus years in retirement that you got to make sure this is taken care of, and you can live longer sick. Right. Medicine has gotten so good that you could spend a long time on the downslope.
Yeah, and that's no fun,
that's
right?
No fun. But it's really no fun if you don't plan for it.
Right.
We had a great conversation with a couple just yesterday. They had a whole bunch of money in the bank sitting in CDs. Their income was taken care of. They've got great retirement. So what we do, we were able to go into what I'll call non-traditional long-term care policy, where they keep the money set aside. Right, it grows a little bit better than it does in the bank in
Right.
the CD.
Right.
And if you go through some medical underwriting, they triple levered that amount of money
It's incredible.
to provide for long-term care, and they're relatively young. So when they get into their 80s, early 90s, this was able to provide them with a really good monthly benefit for each of them to help cover that if they need it, and if not, their beneficiaries get it. When
The
they
money
pass away.
passes, right? So the money's never wasted like it
Yeah.
is with traditional long-term care
That's right.
insurance. I think that's so good. And Tim, Bobby just mentioned something about living longer sick. Again, one of the reasons I wrote my book, Retire Strong, I want people to be proactive about their health. There are some great things steps people can be taking, so they don't have to get on those medications. They could be proactive about it, but I think it's all about the quality of life.
100% agree.
100%, yeah.
I don't want to be hooked up to
Me either, brother.
a machine to stay alive, right? In fact, I just did all my estate planning documents earlier this year, and they ask you in your healthcare directive, what is and what isn't acceptable in life. I want to make sure that my quality of life is good.
Yeah.
And if it's not, don't spend thousands and hundreds of thousands of dollars on me. I'd rather that money go to my kids. That's a personal preference
It
at
is.
the end of the day.
Yeah.
But there are things you can do to be proactive, to make sure that you're taking care of yourself financially and in a health format, so you don't end up in that situation.
Bobby, you just mentioned you put some people on a program that tripled their benefit day one, and then that grows and grows and grows. So they'll have millions of dollars for care if they need it. How that's good for the person, and it's good for the spouse, right? But I think people need to think about how getting sick impacts their family versus them.
Absolutely. Tim and I did an event a couple weeks back that included an estate planning section. A free educational event. Come check us out. We got them all on our website when we have them. That's what I say about those financial and medical, they call them advanced directives for healthcare now. I say, you're going to fill this out, you're going to sign it, you're going to have it notarized, but this isn't for you, right? When these things kick in, you're probably not going to know what's going on.
Yeah.
Right? But God forbid you get in a situation like that, and maybe your kids have to step up and make a decision about mom or dad, and they don't know what you want.
Right.
All of us aren't getting around the Christmas table a week or two ago and talk about what we want to have happen when we get sick.
That's right.
Just doesn't happen. Maybe you did it, and that's awesome. I'm glad you did it. But what this does is provide guidance for those kids to be able to make the decisions
That's
you
right.
want. And more importantly, lets all of your children know, if you've got a couple people that are, kind of stakeholders in your health, that's the decision you want to have made, so there's not bickering amongst them.
That's right.
I love that. So let's stick on this for a few minutes, the long-term care issue here, guys. And Tim, here's a truth or myth question to you. Medicare covers most long-term care expenses.
Medicare only covers, I think, the first 100 days
Maybe.
of in-hospital care that you need.
Yeah.
If you went into the hospital and got out, it'll
That's
pay
right.
for 100 days.
That's right.
Yeah.
And other than that, they really don't cover much
nothing.
of anything.
Mm-mm.
And so that becomes a burden that you have to absorb.
So how important is it, Tim, I'll stick with you on this one, is people to start planning early versus later when it comes to long-term care planning?
Yeah, I mean, the earlier you plan, the more options you have. Health, this is something I used to say a long time ago, but health is really your number one asset, and you don't know it is until you've lost it, right? Yeah. You can't get life insurance, you can't get long-term care insurance, you can't get a lot of things if you're not healthy, right? And so if you don't plan early enough, then you may miss out on the ability to leverage those funds to help take care of those things, and that could be tremendously effective or defective to your plan at the end of the day.
And listen, if you're going to put a program in place to help care for these things, time's your friend.
Yeah,
100%.
Right? Over time, these benefits grow, so you got to put less into these programs to get the same benefit when you need it.
It's funny, and I probably will not quote this exactly. In my new book, Retire Strong, one of the very first things I say is, the longevity of your retirement is not all about your wealth. It's about your health and how you're going to fund your health. People are just not thinking about how much money. Again, I want to reemphasize, Fidelity did a study. One person, 65 years old, you're looking at spending over $170,000 just in general health care. And we're not talking about long-term care, Bobby. What kind of prices are we looking at for long-term care?
Oh, if you're in full skill care here in the Tennessee Valley, you could be pushing $8,000-$9,000 a month.
Easy.
Which is insane.
Easy.
Right? And that's one person. So God forbid you and your spouse both get sick.
Sure.
Right? That could absolutely devastate a retirement plan.
Yeah, so someone comes in, they want to talk to you guys about some long-term care planning. Tim, what's one of the most important features of these plans Bobby just mentioned a few minutes ago? They don't have to be in a home to get the benefits. Is that correct?
Yeah. Most of these plans don't require you to be in a facility to take advantage of them. All of them are ADL driven.
Right.
So ADLs being activities of daily living. If you've seen a parent or spouse go through this, you know what those are. Bathing, dressing yourself.
Transferring, toileting,
there's 6 of them.
medications.
Right?
Yeah.
And a lot of these are built on the ability to not If you can't do 2 out of 6 of those ADLs, we give you a form from that company. Your doctor signs off on it,
Done.
and the benefit goes into place. What's really nice about this is that you're not begging and pleading with an insurance company to say, well, this is my bill, reimburse me for this. They're going to go through and decide what's reasonable, what's necessary. They may cover 70% of it,
Right.
and you're stuck with the other 30%
Right.
bill, right? And now you had to be in a facility a lot of times to use
You
those.
do.
This is cash in your pocket. You do what you want to with it. We've had clients redo bathrooms.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Gary, you had a client not too long ago who went through an issue young. And
Yeah, the wife, 63, got diagnosed with Alzheimer's, so he had to make a
that's
lot of
tough.
changes.
That's really tough.
Yeah.
And they were able to go out and get a nice, sweet minivan to ride around
Yeah.
town in.
Yeah.
I think he did retrofit
He did the bathroom,
restroom.
so to be easier for her.
I've
you
had
know.
clients who've put a wheelchair ramp up
Yep.
in the front of the house because most people want to stay at home longer.
That's right.
They don't want to go to that.
Most people are staying at home longer. If you'd like to have a conversation with Tim Bobby Brogan about the long-term care benefits and how that's going to impact you down the road, come in and see us, 423-710-9199. And again, if you'd like a copy of my book, Plan Today, Own Tomorrow, call the same number, 423-710-9199, or text the word book to 423-710-9199. When we come back, we're going to talk about family, purpose, and living well in 2026. Stay tuned. Are you ready to retire? I don't know is not an acceptable answer, because if you're not ready to retire with enough money to last until your last breath, when would you like to know? We created a quiz to give you a clear idea of retirement readiness, income, Social Security, tax debt, health care. Get a clear picture of how ready you are and where you need help. Get a second opinion. It's free. Go to GIAquiz.com for your retirement readiness score. Welcome back to Plan Today, Own Tomorrow. Gary Thurman, your host and CEO of Guardian Investment Advisors. We've had a great show today. Really been talking about a lot of different things coming into 2026. Happy New Year's, by the way. I hope this is the best year you've ever had in your whole life. In here with Tim and Bobby. And Bobby, I'm going to start with you with a truth or myth question. Let's see here. Retirement is all about slowing down.
A myth, not necessarily.
No, sir.
I'm glad that we're seeing a kind of a shift on this. You know, more people want to go. I've always wanted to travel. I want to go travel. I'm going to spend time with the grandkids. We see it more often than not. Somebody comes in and goes, I have no idea how I had time to work.
Yeah.
Right? They stay so busy in retirement.
Yeah.
And good. That's what you've worked for.
That's right.
To be able to do what you want. And
That's right.
if you're doing everything you want to do, it's real easy to fill your schedule.
Very much.
Yeah, I'd say. So for both of you right now, what do you see happen when people retire to something instead of from something? Does that make sense?
It's kind of feeds into what I just said.
It does. That
You know,
is
they come in, stressed out from work, ready to retire, and then, a couple months, a year later, come in, man, they're as excited as we've ever seen them.
Yep.
Again, they've gone on to, help care for the grandkids or go to that charity that they've cared about and, used to be able to just send them money. Now they get to work with them and for them.
We've met a
Man.
fair number of people who are running RVs around the country
Oh, yeah.
right now.
Yeah.
I mean, any number of things, and it's exciting, right? Especially when they get to retire at a decent age and they have the energy and time to go do these things.
Yeah, every once in a while we'll get a client that sends us a cool photo from somewhere. Right?
Yeah, yeah.
The sunrise out west
Yeah.
or, sunset at the beach, send them. We love those things.
You just reminded me of some clients we had because, guys, we just did our whole Forgotten Child Fund campaign, and one of our clients, that's what they're doing. They go to RV park to RV park to RV. Now, let me tell you what these guys do. This is pretty
cool. I know what you're
creative.
gonna say.
They sign up to work while they're there. So
Also
they
like a
they,
camp host or
they
something
camp
like that?
host, and
That's cool.
they both do different jobs. So that way they pay nothing for the hookups and everything else. They'll stay 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month, stay however long they want. But how smart was that?
That's a cool idea.
I mean,
Awesome.
they're staying active. They're keeping their brain active. They're keeping their body active. So they're really protecting their health. They're getting to meet new people, have fun, and yet it's saving them money. So I think that's really neat
That's
that
cool.
people do stuff like that. Tim, when people retire, the water cooler conversations go away, the lunch dates go away, the talking about the Monday Night Football game goes away. How big is that an impact on people mentally when they retire?
Yeah, I mean, depends on your personality, right?
Well, yeah.
I was never much for the water cooler talk, but I do like conversing with folks around the office and having that social life, right? And so, a lot of folks try to find other social activities to get involved in, whether
you
that
have
is charity work or, a board game night or, getting involved with the HOA or whatever it may be. Finding something to be social and around other people keeps you active, gives you a reason to get out and go do things, right?
And Bobby, how important is that for get out and do things? I mean,
it's vital, right? If you retire and go sit on your couch, listen, I get it. Go do it for a month if that's what you think you're going to do. I bet you'll find that it just bores the heck out of you. And I bet you'll find if you do it long enough that your health starts deteriorating a lot quicker than you think because getting out of bed early in the morning, being active, walking to and from the office, it's real easy when you're in that routine to take care of yourself, especially if you're intentional about it.
Right.
But, man, if you don't have a set schedule and you're not intentional about your health, which is real easy to be when you don't have a schedule.
It is.
You can see your health slip away from you pretty quick.
So don't get lazy in retirement.
Yeah, absolutely don't get lazy.
Again, writing the book Retire Strong, one of the studies I found is a 65-year-old, and this was a study on a male, becomes what we call a couch potato, so to speak. They do nothing. They eat unhealthy. Their life expectancy 7 years.
Yeah.
So you work 30, 35, 40 years to live 7, sitting on the couch?
Yeah.
Doesn't sound like a lot of fun to me, Bobby.
No, absolutely not. And, we've got exactly the opposite folks, that are riding competitive road bikes. And all
I know,
kinds of stuff
Don't you love
in
that?
retirement. And, aside from the occasional knee issue this gentleman has, man, he looks great.
He does.
He's in his 70s, still putting the whooping on some young people on a bicycle. But it's what he loves, and it's going to make him live longer, happier, more fulfilled life.
And I think one of the things, Tim, that people miss out on, I'm a doctor, I'm an attorney, I'm a physician, whatever the case may be, I think they lose that identity. Yeah. Like, I've been Dr. Thurman for 35, 40 years, and now I'm just John Doe. Yeah. Do you think that's an issue that people, they miss that identity of actually who they are?
I think it's very possible. A lot of those folks we see get involved on a charitable basis, right? They take that profession and everything they've learned over life, and they're able to use it in a different fashion in retirement.
Yeah, I think you got to be really careful about that, Gary. Your job is what you do. It's not who you are.
Ooh, I like that.
And you may feel differently, but I would invite you to think about that a little bit because you're not going to be able to do that for your entire life.
A lot of people are very passionate about what they do, and I think that's good. You should be. And I think that's where the identity kind of crossover can come from.
Yeah.
And if you're ready to be done with the day-to-day and the 9 to 5, great. Retire if you're able to, but you don't have to quit doing what you're doing. Take it and use it on a consultant basis,
right?
Or
part-time basis, or whatever the case may be,
basis or something, right? Maybe that helps with what you're trying to do, and God put you on His green earth to do what you're supposed to do. Use your talents if you're still wanting to, right?
Yeah, we've got a client up in Cleveland. She's been a client of ours forever. She treats cancer patients, and she is really, really good at what she does. Guys, she's over 70 now, still working every single day. And I have said to her many, many times, you can retire. You've done well, you've planned well, you can retire. She goes, why? Well, I mean, Gary, this is such a fulfilling thing for me. It keeps me on my feet. It keeps my brain working. So I get it.
I have a client in Florida who's 86. He drives an hour to work every day.
That guy. And that guy's a rock star.
I've been begging him to retire for years.
But I love it when you find people that have found their calling, though. That's really cool.
Yeah, I do too. So, Bobby, what about this right here? Truth or myth? Once your plan is in place, you never need to revisit it.
That's a myth. I always like to say we all have our favorite GPS apps on our phone.
Yeah.
Mine is Waze. My daughter recorded her voice, so she gives me directions everywhere I go. But like that, if you want to go drive to Florida or something, right, it'll give you the way to get there. If a road's closed, if there's an accident, if there's traffic, it'll reroute you, right? And that's what a good retirement plan should do. You're still going to get to where you want to go, but you've got to keep the open mind that it's going to adjust.
Right.
And the earlier you start that planning process, the more adjustments you're going to have.
Sure.
I love that.
And you need to do it. We talked in the first segment about what you need to do in 2026, revisit your spending plan. Revisit your spending plan so you can revisit your entire plan. That's just the first step, right? And you just got to make sure there's new tools that come out, things happen in life, the market does well, doesn't do well. It's not a static set it and forget it thing.
And Tim, again, we're stepping into retirement, and I know that you guys have had this situation, we all have, where a couple comes in, one of them is the most dominant person with all the financial planning. How important is it for a couple to be on the same page when it comes to retirement planning?
Yeah, I mean, that's really common because similar personality types don't usually marry each other, right?
Right.
And so you've got one of the two who's usually numbers focused and wants to be on top of the financial stuff. The other one wants to be creative or whatever, right? Yeah. And so it's very common for that to happen. What we typically ask is that your spouse, even if they don't want to be a part of it, at least come in for the big planning meeting. And let me see your face every couple years.
That's right. Yeah.
You don't have to be involved in all the nitty gritty details. I know you don't want to be, but if your spouse passes that is involved with this, you need to know a little bit about what's going on.
That's right.
And at least the questions to ask. We'll guide you in the right direction, but stay involved a little bit.
Yeah, that's why, I mean, in my book, guys, I got a whole chapter on women in here because, I mean, if you look at stats, women outlive the men most of the time. They go from a joint tax bracket to a single tax bracket. They're usually the caregiver. So they've been out of the workforce, taking care of mom and dad or taking care of the kids through college, whatever the case may be. And what's going to happen to them if he did all the planning? Her plan is only as good as his plan. Mm-hmm. Do you guys understand what I'm saying?
And generally not as good for all the reasons you mentioned.
That's right.
And we had that issue this year. We had a client come in. Her husband passed late last year, and everything was scattered. She spent 2 months going through boxes in the attic because he saved everything from forever.
Oh,
and
wow.
So she had to figure out what was relevant and finally came
what
back to see
even
us.
existed anymore.
It was hard on her. You could
That's
see
tough. Tim, I'm going to give you one more question. I'm really focused on my new book coming out, Retire Strong. You can't protect both your wealth and your health in retirement.
Why not?
That's a good myth, right?
In fact, protecting your wealth could help you protect your wealth, right?
Absolutely.
I'm sorry. Protecting your wealth could help you protect your health.
Absolutely, 100%. What do you think about that, Bobby?
I completely agree. I don't think you can have one without the other.
You got to have them both. And I think when it comes to the spouse, working together, I say one word: communication. All right, guys, you had one word to pick. You had one word to pick for 2026. What is it?
Purposeful.
I like it.
Right? And your
Quick definition?
Just be have a goal and be purposeful in everything you do. Be a rifle, not a shotgun.
Yeah.
Right? And that can mean a whole bunch of different things in all aspects of your life, right? When you're trying to make a decision, make sure you do it with intent and you know why you're making that decision.
Awesome. Tim?
I got thrown in this halfway through, but the first word that came to my head was volatility.
Oh, yeah?
We've seen quite a bit of that this year. Probably not going away, but something we're watching at and keeping a close eye on.
I came up with two, if that's okay.
Sure.
First one was thrive. Be active, forward moving, keep things going. We just talked about that, keeping your health. And then I used the word balance. Look at a balance between your health and your wealth. Look at a balance in your family, time you work, time with family. I like the word balance a whole lot for 2026. And maybe that's a good word for you. Look, guys, if you'd like a copy of my book, Plan Today on Tomorrow, 423-710-9199, or text the word book, 423-710-9199. Now, we're going to have to get a hold of you, get your information. One thing we're offering with this is a video series that gives you a little quick explanation of every chapter, so we'll definitely need your email for that. 423-710-9199. Folks, I hope you have a tremendous 2026. Gentlemen, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Guys, enjoy. We'll see you next week on Plan Today on Tomorrow.